listening to Sports Radio Detroit.
Welcome to Grave Discussions. I'm your host, Barnabas.
And I am your co-host, Samael. Welcome to a special episode number 78, A Scary Good Time. And who's our special guest?
Yeah, we're sitting here today in this very special 78th episode with none other than Luke Castle. Hi, Luke.
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
I'm a little woozy.
You're at the dentist earlier, so you told me.
I was at the dentist earlier, and I'm still recovering from
drugs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, it sounds like we're all having a fun Thursday evening. We hope you are too, Fright fans. We've got a cool episode lined up for you where we're going to be talking with Luke, who is the president of the Royal Starr Arts Institute, and just in time for the greatest month of the year, October. And just before the greatest holiday, Halloween, we've got a cool event going on that we're going to talk about and just various other things. First of all, real quick, just wanted to give a shout out to our host network, Sports Radio Detroit.
Yes, and you can find them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Just look up SRD Sports Radio Detroit. That's SRD Sports Radio Detroit. Or you can visit sportsradiodetroit.com and you can find them there. And remember, we're not Detroit Sports Radio.
Exactly. So let's just pretty much jump right into it. Luke, glad to have you on the show, of course.
Thanks.
And what are we going to talk about today?
That's up to you.
So
I'm here to answer your questions.
Everything.
All right, great. So we've actually got a pretty cool event coming up for filmmakers primarily, but really just anybody kind of interested in the business or who's already like in the industry and wants to find work and connect with people. And that's happening this coming Tuesday, October 8th.
Yes, I'm going to agree with you.
Yes.
Because you're looking at your phone and I am not.
I am. So there's going to be a Royal Starr filmmaker Halloween party / mixer at 5th Avenue in Royal Oak.
Which is a new location. So if you are used to going to Hamlin Corner or Imagine for the year before, we are now moving to 5th Avenue. You should ask me why.
Why are you moving to 5th Avenue, Luke?
We're outgrowing our venue. If you've been there the last couple months, the venue is getting a little tight. We love Hamlin Corner, and we're going to continue to do some different programming. But as far as the mixer itself needs to find a new home again. So this is the second time we're moving.
Okay.
Because we keep outgrowing our venues, which is a good thing. That means we have a very strong film.
That's awesome.
Maker community here that is really interested in making movies and short films and makeup and all that good stuff.
Yeah, despite, losing out on the tax incentives, there's still a thriving community of which you and I are both a part of right now. And you with the Royal Starr Arts Institute and the Film Festival, which you can definitely expand on a bit more.
Castleheart, I do that too.
Yeah, and that as well, which is
and
new.
We've worked together actually because you were part of Clean Slate Productions.
Yes,
which is a group of wonderful guys that make really cool short films, and they've made some commercials. I've seen. I saw your soccer commercial. I've worked with you actually on what we've like to call now Pew Pew.
Yes.
Pew Pew 313.
Pew Pew lasers, yes.
So that was actually a lot of fun, and working with you was actually a lot of fun because that's the first time I think I've ever got to work with you. And your particular job on set is second AD,
right, which
works with my job pretty closely, which is unit production manager. And then my new assistant came on that same day, and that was her first time also working as at the production office. So that was a lot of fun.
It was good.
I want to make another movie like that, but just not with them. Can I say that? You guys were awesome.
You can say whatever you want. Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
I want it to be my money or something, or somebody else's money that, I don't know. I just want to make another thing. We're looking at it.
Me too. No, it was fun. We both kind of were able to take the reins, but do it together. And then Sam, I mean, you have so many ideas for movies.
I have a lot.
And
Write that shit down.
I mean-
Can I say shit?
yeah,
You
it's
could
just-
you could say fuck
anything
shit.
you
You
want.
could
Awesome. Write that shit down, man.
Yes.
There we go.
The greatest thing that I did in film school was I carried around this little journal in my back pocket, and I just started writing everything down. Like anytime I went on a date, I just like, this is what happened. Or anytime I had a dream, this is what happened. Or anytime I had an idea for a movie, I'd write that down.
Mhm.
And now I go back to it because I had some really great ideas.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to get older and your ideas are just be like, what?
Mhm.
Dude, you can find online where you can actually submit these like ideas and not even just the script, just like the premise. People will send you like, if they enjoy it, anywhere from like 25 to 50K,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
try to make it into like a feature film. They just pay you off.
Yeah.
I got
There's a lot of
journals
stuff
of
like
those.
that,
Dude, you can become first. You could become rich off selling houses. Now selling ideas.
Yeah, you could be the next Stephen King with his, pocketbook
Just
of
without the
ideas as well.
alcoholism, don't do that.
I've become a
Don't do
Stephen
that.
King fan recently.
Hey, you know what? I mean, we did the podcasting panel together,
Yeah.
where you actually went into a lot of your background in with your podcast as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you said that you were recently getting into horror.
Yes.
well,
which
I
is
have,
exciting.
I have
Watching Hereditary.
steered clear of like two genres.
Okay.
And that's horror. And especially gross, like over the top bloody horror.
Yeah, I don't.
But
fuck with
mostly
that.
just any horror at this point,
Mhm.
any kind of scary horror. And movies like The Third Kind.
Oh,
So
the
like
fourth kind?
is it the fourth
Yeah,
kind?
it's the fourth.
Yeah, with the
Sorry, there you
aliens.
go.
It's some number.
And
There you
E.T., like just
Yeah.
weird alien movies, I stay away from. Because although like Alien, oddly enough, I like, which is both an alien movie
Yeah.
and a horror movie, but I'm
Right.
just like, oh, because I like sci-fi.
Yeah.
Like that's my thing. I don't know.
Oh, then you need to watch The Thing.
Oh, there's so many.
I
other-
want to watch The Thing.
Dude,
and
you have
I
to.
just got into horror because
Mhm.
of Kylie, who now works as my
Okay.
assistant.
Mhm.
She's like, you have to try it. I'm like, all right. And I watched, and she took me to watch a kiddie horror movie, which was
Scary Stories.
Scary Stories.
Okay.
'Cause I loved that when I was a kid.
Did it get you?
I liked it.
Okay.
Like I'm like, oh, this is enjoyable. She's like, well, then you should watch It, because she
Mhm.
knew It was like the movie. Like if there's a movie that I'm absolutely scared of,
Oh yeah.
it was It as a kid, because I fucking hate clowns.
Yeah, I
There you
don't
go.
like them.
And I absolutely became obsessed, as we found out on the podcast that we were on together.
Yeah.
That I sort of dug in and started to look at like the backstory of the characters and how it all works together. And then I got to see It too.
hmm
Like the day before my festival started, I'm like, let's go to the movies. And
Yeah.
we did, and I love it.
Oh, it's exciting. I mean,
Just
I'm-
I was gonna say, don't get your hopes up that every horror movie is gonna be like that.
No,
for
and
sure,
I
for sure.
watched
You're gonna be
another
disappointed.
one in between, and I think it's called Hereditary.
Hereditary. Yep.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that was absolutely horrible. Like I wasn't even scared. There was no jump scares
sure.
in it. It was just
We
just
did like
dull.
it. We liked it,
I just didn't like it.
but it is a very divisive film.
It has a lot of like underlying messages and like
Does it?
it's not. There's no
Mhm.
like exposition through like the background. Well, there's all the exposition at the end, like the very last paragraph that's spoken by one of the characters. But throughout the movie, you see little hints as to like what's going on.
Really?
Yeah, with just the background and stuff.
That's the one. We're allowed to give away movies?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
the one where you find out like that person's becoming the devil or something like that.
Yeah, he's becoming
Yeah.
the vessel for a demon because his old grandmother's friend tried to like boot him out of his own body by making him like unconsciously go through like this ritual. And apparently the little girl died because of like she basically wanted a male body. So in a universal sense, in a occultist sense, like what was supposed to happen happened. He didn't like being in a girl's body, the demon. So he kind of got himself beheaded by a street pole to enter into
Yeah.
her brother.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I hated it.
There's
Like
a-
I wasn't even scared either. And
Yeah.
I guess that's what it was.
Insidious will
Kylie
scare
was
you.
there, and I
Sure.
think Nicole, who's the vice president, we watched it at her house,
Mhm.
and I was just like, eh.
It's definitely a different experience in the theater for sure, and that's what
Is
I wanted to say.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, because it did freak. I mean, like I left it kind of divided as well, but it was definitely a lot creepier, I would say, in the movie theater. And that's one of the things about horror. I think it's probably one of the better genres. If you see a good horror movie in the theater, it's a great experience. As long as you don't have any like dickhead audience members
absolutely.
as
Which
well.
we did
but,
for the
No
Possession of
movie's
Hannah
good with
Grace.
that unless you're at like Rocky
Of course.
Horror or something like that.
right. But also the horror community is probably like the most passionate and outspoken out of any genre. I mean, I don't really see too many, communities or forums of people, in the comedy, movie fandom or anything like that.
we fucking love Mission
Yeah.
Impossible. Like, there's people out
So-
there like that, but thank God they're not on the forums. Fuck.
Yeah. So, I mean, horror with how creative and how how it evolves and everything like that, is definitely kind of an easier thing to get into because of all the support around it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely not for everybody. But I'm glad that you're getting into it.
I like horror films with story that makes sense to me. So it was good. I think I'm going to revisit Cabin in the Woods. I liked Cabin in the Woods even before I came to horror recently. I think I'm just a Joss Whedon fan. Like, I'll just watch whatever he makes.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I liked Cabin in the Woods. I like that I feel like it was made for the fan of horror.
Mm-hmm.
It is,
because he's really on the nose with that. And even though I wasn't then a horror fan, I could appreciate that. I think I want to watch it now to see what I would think now that I'm starting to get into horror films.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for really good horror films now that have a really good in-depth story. Where I like going back to Hereditary.
Yep.
I don't feel like that was really well done versus a movie like it that had its world really fleshed out.
Yeah.
Even behind the scenes, you could outside of the movie itself, you can go and look stuff up and be like, oh, this is a whole world that I can sort of obsess over for a long time.
Exactly.
Which I think I like.
Yeah.
I like those kind of things.
It's going to derive a much larger fan base than Hereditary anyway because of
it's Stephen King.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the source material helps for sure.
I'm looking for, and if you guys have,
I'll send you a whole
either
list.
of you have really good story-based ones, or like even if your audience does, my email's out there.
Dude, fucking Shutter Island, The Woman in Black.
I like Shutter Island.
A lot.
I love that.
Is that a horror? Or is that
psychological thriller. It falls into the same category.
Shutter Island was really confusing to me.
Yeah.
And then 20 minutes in, I looked over at my roommate at the time, and I'm like, this is what's going to happen. And everything happened.
Nice. You're a prophet.
I'm just like, this is what's going to happen.
Some movies can be a little bit...
I liked it.
Predictable. Yeah, it was good. So now that we've kind of established that you're beginning to get more into horror...
Yeah, I'm a noob.
Yeah, but it's totally fine. You learn and you grow and you watch more movies and you get freaked out and, then suddenly you're a hardcore fan. But, as far as your role in the Royal Starr Arts Institute.
Oh yeah, I do that thing too.
You do that thing as well.
I'm
so let's talk about that. I mean, obviously you love movies.
Yeah.
How did you?
They're pretty cool.
How did you take over as president of that, and what are you guys kind of doing with that organization?
Well, what was it? About 4 or 5 years ago, a couple of gentlemen in Royal Oak came together by the name of Gene Meadows and Larry Cantor. And Larry was a big film fan, and he had wrote a couple of scripts, I think, at the time. And I think he'd worked on a couple of films, like some, hobby projects or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Gene Meadows is amazing architectural photographer. I don't know. He's shown at the DIA and Cranbrook and all over. Great guys. And they gave me a call. Gene gave me a call. And after a couple of months, we talked it out and decided we want to start a film festival. So there's 4 or 5 of us that founded the Royal Starr Arts Institute. I think it was 2015-ish. I believe so, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
So there was a couple presidents before me, and then one day I just sort of became president because I was one of the original founders and had all these ideas, and I kept talking, and that's what you don't want to do if you want more responsibility. If you don't want responsibility, you just stop talking. But I didn't. Nobody told me that, and I kept talking, and all of a sudden I'm president, and I'm just like, well, I did something wrong, I think. So now I'm president.
But you are passionate about it.
I love it. I really do. It's always a lot of work, and anything worth doing is going to be a lot of work, whether that is a film festival or your passion project, a film or a podcast, anything you put your time into. And it doesn't happen overnight. And that's one of the things I talk about at the mixers when people come up and talk to me about their projects is that you have to have that resilience and that stay and that consistency. Because if it was easy, we'd all do it. Mm-hmm. Kevin Smith has an amazing quote about that, and it goes something like, "The thing of this thing that we do, filmmaking." He goes, "This thing that we do, or anything that's sort of crazy and not quote unquote normal." He's like, "This thing that we do is it's crazy and it's ridiculous, and there's no reason why we should want to do this. But the key to the key to doing something like this, you have to believe for everybody. Mm-hmm. You have to believe for yourself and everybody around you because nobody does in the beginning. And then you get lucky and you find that one person that's going to believe with you. And now you can take that belief and divide it by 2 amongst yourselves. And you keep going down this path. And then one day you might turn around and there's a whole congregation behind you. And sometimes you've realized you might have built a cathedral, and sometimes you might have just built a chapel. But he said, the people who tell you to do it wrong have never built a church or something like that. And the idea is that you just got to keep doing it, and you have to be consistent, and you have to believe more than anybody else is going to believe, because that's your job. And that's what I've done. I've been very, very blessed to have really great men and women to help share the load. Billy Whitehouse has been there from the very, very beginning. Even in my career as a filmmaker, he's been there from the very beginning, and we're sitting in his office pretty much now here in Birmingham. And he served on the board. He's one of the original board members, and he's still with us. That sounds bad, like everybody's not. Everybody's still alive.
Are you sure?
A lot of people got busy. But Billy's still here, and he helps me, run the whole thing, along with Corey Milton, who you know.
Hi, Corey.
Yeah, hi, yes. Corey. And a lot of people out there will know Corey from the community. He helps run the community events, and then Nicole Estep is the vice president.
Yeah.
Sort of space there. Is the vice president. And the 4 of us right now make up the board, and then we have a great crew behind us that help us do all the things that we do throughout the year. So I'm very blessed to have a really good, solid crew to sort of execute the crazy ideas that I come up with. And in November, we're going to be announcing a new one. So,
oh, that's exciting. Yes. So yeah, always kind of new things going on in the world of the Royal Starr.
I can say it has to do about funding films.
Yeah, which is great. Which the mixers do assist in kind of helping with. A lot of filmmakers come out to those.
Yep. And meet up with people that have like interest and talk about their projects. Maybe meet a producer, maybe meet a director if they're an actor. Find people who do the sound and whatever. It's all there. But I wanted for a while to do a more direct, how do I say this without giving it away? A more direct program for the Institute that helps fund films.
Okay.
So that'll hopefully be announced in November, and November is a big one for us. It's the last one of the year. Mm-hmm. Also, we're one of the 3 places that the film office comes down to hold their town hall. So the film mixer will start, I think, an hour early next month in November, because we're going to do a town hall and a meet and greet with the people in the government that are dealing with film and film festivals. And it's a great thing. If you're part of this community, you want to be able to hear what's going on and speak up, because we are a community and this is how we're heard.
So when did this whole thing start really picking up?
What do you mean picking up? Which one?
More people got involved in the Royal Starr Arts Institute, and then making the transition to the film festivals and all the stuff like that. When did that all pick up?
So the film festival came first.
Oh.
Yeah. So the idea originally was do a film festival. That was everybody else's idea. My idea was a little bit different, because I'm a little bit different. But I knew that the festival was always going to be our cornerstone as far as how we reach out to the non-filmmaking community. How do we say, we're still here, we're making art for you guys, come look at it, right? And that always had to be the big cornerstone in the beginning, because that's what attracts money in the beginning. And we're a nonprofit institute. We still got to find money like everybody else. So we don't really have much to sell. Mm-hmm. So that was our thing to sell.
Yep.
After I became president, one of these programs that I've always wanted to do was a mixer. I don't think I called it a mixer. I don't know what I called it. I might have called it a mixer. I don't know.
Maybe called it a mixer. Yeah.
We've came up with we had done something similar, but not to the in-depthness of what Corey has created with the tables and the photographer, the headshot photographer there. And I think that was all really important in creating the pillars of what became our filmmaking community here in the Metro Detroit area. That being said, the film festival was awesome. It picked up, we didn't know how many people was going to show up at the first one, the first year film festival. And to be completely honest, there was me and another gentleman by the name of Shane Sevo, which is one of the original board members. And they would always ask the two of us, we're the two youngest guys on the board, and the rest is usually older white guys. And they would ask the two of us because we had done film festivals for a while going back into Detroit. And we were a really big part of the community there, even during the incentive days. And they're like, how many people are you going to show up? We're like, 1,000. Like, if 1,000 people show up, that's going to be awesome. And then we would wait a couple months as we get closer to the festival that first year. They're like, how many people are you going to do? 750, 500. If 200 people show up, we're doing good.
Yeah.
That first year we had over 1,000 people show up, and it was crazy because then we realized the film industry didn't go anywhere, just the excitement did.
Yeah.
So from that point forward, I started to try to figure out how to bottle that every month. And I go over through my head and it's like, okay, what should we do? And when Corey came on board after I became president, the community was the number one thing that was on my mind. And what he's done with it is far beyond what I even thought of. And I think it's great. And I continue to want to do crazy new things with that.
You should.
So I'm really excited about the Halloween one coming up next week on Tuesday, because we're going to have a lot of tables there, a lot of special effects and makeup artists. Hopefully I see a lot of you guys in costume. So we'll see. I think we're going to be giving away prizes for best costume. I have to talk to Corey about that.
I hope so. That would be very cool.
I'm showing up then in a costume. I'm bringing my whole screen accurate Michael Myers get up.
There you go.
He does. Yeah, he has
I'm in a costume.
It's great.
So that's where we've gone so far, and I'm been doing meetings recently to see where we're going next year, and I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys have a lot of cool stuff coming up, and I was going to say the cool thing is that despite this being a Michigan product, which is cool too, because there's I think a big film festival up in Traverse City, if I'm not mistaken, but down here, there's little festivals here and there, kind of out of Detroit, but this was kind of like a big one. Now you guys have actually gone international. Yeah, I know that you had a feature playing at this year's film festival from South Africa, which is awesome.
They won too.
Yeah, they did win.
They were supposed to come, but unfortunately, some bad stuff happened right before the festival about some of the bad news that's happened over there with people getting killed, and they had to cancel their trip, unfortunately. Yeah. But I was excited to meet them. But yeah, congratulations to them. It's
a crazy world. Things happen, but the point still remains that it's very cool that we have not only Michigan filmmakers at this thing, but even at the mixers, people come from way out there in different
Alaska.
States. Yeah,
that's people's asked me, what's the farthest you've heard somebody come to the mixer, and that's Alaska. And I became really good friends with her, and we still talk. She works in TV. She's one of the producers for Deadliest Catch. And she came in to check out she's like, this is
Carp.
She was really impressed with what we did. We became really good friends, and we still text all the time when she's in town. But yeah, she's really cool, and she's like, yeah, this is really impressive. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah.
So Alaska's, I think, the farthest. I mean, obviously we have had the California, the Atlanta, Florida. Those people have come in for the mixers, but Alaska.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And then get the film festival last year. We had people. Well, even this year we had people from all over the world, but last year we had even more international people fly in. One of those from Japan, and his film won Audience Choice. It was called Stay. So, I've always wanted to do an international film festival. That's where I started, was the International Film Festival circuit with the DWIF, the Detroit Windsor International Film Festival. So that's what I know. Why not play on the world stage?
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, this also is going to be your very first ever Halloween party.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. Huge. Usually we have the film festival in October, but we've moved it up to September because weather and a couple other things. But I'm excited to finally do some October programming. And then going into November, we'll have some November programming for the mixers and the town hall. So I'm excited to see what we do with these extra 2 months in our year. Because usually our year ends right after the festival, but not this time.
Isn't it crazy? It was like fate. You just started getting into horror movies, and then your first Halloween party, and
I think there's reasons why things happen. I guess I like to believe that.
And, hey, maybe the funding. if you sell a few houses, maybe it'll be fun.
Maybe if anybody wants to
Yeah,
buy a
make it
house
happen.
or sell a house, let me know.
Hit up
If you're on the market,
If you go anywhere else, I will find you.
there you go. So, I mean, I think it's really cool. Hopefully, we're expecting a lot of people to show up for that. But, horror, harkening back to kind of what we were talking about earlier, is definitely a genre that you can get into if, you have that passion for it, or if you find those kind of movies fun or whatever. And being a filmmaker, too, it allows for a lot of creativity. So I think that this could be a really successful mixer just because, it's a lot. Horror is kind of the emphasis here. We've got all the makeup artists. We had the competitions coming through.
I think horror is, as a filmmaker's perspective, and I've said this since, film school, is a great place for a filmmaker to start.
Mm-hmm.
There is not much you need to make a horror film. You have to
Right.
understand the beats. You have to understand the genre. And then you're going to need a lot of Cairo syrup and red dye. But like the things you can do with horror, you don't need a special effects budget that's huge. You can do a lot of this stuff with common things. Even in film school, they brought in, I think, Robert Romero's makeup artist.
Or George Romero.
What?
George Romero?
Yeah. Who made the first zombie movie?
George
Romero.
Maybe it was him.
I think I know
I'm
what
still
you're
under
talking about.
I'm still under.
No, yeah,
It's okay.
yeah.
But yeah, he came in and taught us how to do a lot of this stuff with just common, like, implements.
Oh, wow.
Buttons, fishing line, some spirit gum was
Mm.
probably the most advanced thing you could buy at a costume shop. And blood pills. He taught us how to make blood pills. And he's like, this is what we did. Like, if you look closely, we didn't even remove some of the lines in the film. Like, you can see the fishing line as they pull blood shots out,
Yeah.
And it's cool. And you can do that as a filmmaker. You don't have to wait for, like, a compositing budget.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about that. Learn how to be practical. And this goes into all film. Like, if you can do it practical, I think that's awesome. And a practical, if for the non-filmmakers, means you're not doing it digital. You're not doing it in editing.
Mm.
You're completely doing that as something that can be touched and felt and heard right there in real life as you're filming it.
Best way to do it.
Practical lighting's awesome. Also, so what was one of the Spotless Mind did a lot of practical lighting.
Did it? Okay.
There's this movie called Equilibrium that came out at the same time as The Matrix with, I think, Christian Bale.
Yes.
And that's a lot of practical lighting, and a lot of those moves were done with somebody flashing on and off lights, so it looks like he's moving faster than he actually is.
Okay, that's sick.
And if you study the practical lighting in Equilibrium, it's just mind-blowing what they did to make a very compelling movie at the time where The Matrix was doing this amazing stuff with digital stuff to tell a story. At the same time, these guys were doing with Equilibrium almost the same thing, but just absolutely in camera, which I think that is an amazing art form that I don't ever want to see lost.
Feels so much more real with practical.
Oh, it's just cool. And I like the big budget composite. I'm not against that, but I like the struggle of trying to figure out how to do it without.
Mm.
Like, there's something about saying, I'm going to live inside this box for a little bit, and I'm going to figure out how to make a film inside this box. And I think horror film does that for somebody. So if you're not in a horror film genre, and I wasn't in the beginning, even in film school, I tried to avoid it. And my class even made a horror film for the 48 back in the day, and they won actually nationals. And it was a musical zombie film.
Oh, that's sick.
And it's out there somewhere. It's pretty cool. Check it out. Like, find something that you're going to like. If you like story, find a Stephen King, like The It was really well done. I like the new one. We can argue day and night about it, but I like the new one.
I did too, yeah.
Or if you really like the effects, you can find, I don't know what the good effects are out there. I would say a Romero film.
Carpenter.
If you like
Especially
something
The Thing.
goofy, check out our homeboy right here from Michigan who did Evil Dead. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ted Raimi.
there's something out
Not
there.
Sam
And he
Raimi.
did that on practically nothing also. Like, that's just him and his friends in the woods with some
$2,000
camera
budget,
and-
something like that.
Yeah.
Very low budget.
And this is the way to start where you can make something really good.
Mm-hmm.
So, horror films is an interesting place to start for a filmmaker, and I would encourage it.
Yeah, I think, even if some people kind of go into shooting a horror film as, it's at least going to be cheap and we can film it quickly. Yes, that's true, but that's how you get all those shitty horror movies that nobody likes.
Horror films.
But you got to start somewhere.
Make shitty horror films and then watch your films and show them to people who are going to critique you, and then make better shitty horror films.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. A lot of people nowadays, like, especially on Instagram, and we try to talk with all these movie makers, it seems like you can't really critique anyone, even though
critique. That's the number
crazy.
One thing.
Everyone's like so like touchy-feely. It's like, bro, why wouldn't you want to improve upon yourself? If someone says like, I can tell you have bad posture by the way your voice sounds on the podcast, but shit, I'm gonna sit up straight. That's it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Corey and I both agreed, even when we were back in our podcast days, that we were going to be very honest with each other. And I tend not to have a filter, especially with Corey. And I think that's just made us better. And I think Corey is a great editor now.
Yeah.
I've seen what he's been able to do, and he's worked with you guys. He's worked with me, and I'm like, oh, wow, he's completely surpassed me in editing. And I went to school for this shit, guys. And it's just learning and being passionate about it, and then doing it over and over and over again until you're great. So, just make films, make shitty films, make good films, make shitty films. I don't care. Just make films and show them.
It's inviting, but you do have to be passionate about it to really get something off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just want to touch briefly on the special guests that are going to be at the Halloween party. They're going to be kind of promoting
tell me who
that
they
sort
are.
of stuff. I will do. And Sam, if you have it up, you can definitely tell us as well. But we've got several special effects makeup artists that are going to be coming out to this, which we normally have, I think, like one or two, but there's going to be a bunch this time. Keith Faychek.
Keith is awesome.
I don't know
way
him,
back.
but
so
he's got good work here.
He did an episode of our old podcast called The Rack Show. And Conrad and I did an episode where we did special effects makeup. And this is, once again, before I liked horror films. And they're like, well, you're going to be in the chair, and we're going to put stuff on you. And they made me into a zombie. It took them like 15, 20 minutes. Conrad did an hour, and they did a full prosthetic on him.
Nice.
And it freaked me out. Like, I didn't know what they were doing. They kept me away from him the whole show. And then he comes around the corner and scares the shit out of me with this prosthetic demon face. Keith's great. Keith is a great guy.
Nice. So Keith is going to be there. And next up is Brandy Jean, who I work with Brandy
She's
pretty
awesome.
frequently
She
in
does my
Clean
makeup.
Slate. Yep. She's a great special effects makeup artist, and she will be there as well. We've worked on numerous projects together. So she's awesome. Hi, Brandy.
Can't say enough good things about her.
No, not at all. So then next up for the special effects makeup artist, we have Angela Beach. I worked with Angela as well on one short. She did also a zombie makeup, actually.
I think I've worked with her.
She does good work.
I think I've worked with her.
Definitely good work.
I think my last project was with her.
Okay.
I'd have to ask Corey.
Yeah, I think she just recently did something on a commercial, so that's cool.
The next one is, I can't pronounce that last name.
I think Nicole Deal. Is it Deal?
I don't
It
know.
looks like Nicole Deal.
Yep. Nicole, I don't really know her. I think I have her added on my Facebook, but
I've met her.
I don't know her. But she will be there as well.
Usually people part of film crews are pretty cool in general.
Yeah. Sammy Maskill will also be there. Hi, Sammy. We've worked on a few things, I think, together. Very nice person and very talented
That top right one is
makeup artist.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We're looking at some of the advertising Corey's made up. I think Corey made it up.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
If you check out the Royal Starr Arts Institute page or the filmmaker
On
mixer
Facebook.
page, the event page, they're on there. And then I believe there's maybe one more. Forgive me if not.
Why is there babies on our page?
Otherwise, this is not your page. Otherwise,
Why is babies on there?
forgive me. But those are the makeup artists. And then we also have some competitions coming
Yeah,
through.
what is this? This is what
This is
I was
very
looking through
cool.
the notes. What is Horror Film Roulette?
So Horror Film Roulette will be there. They are a film competition specifically for horror. You go, you spin this giant circle, and that's your genre. So you have to create a short film based on that.
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks long, but I think they did that Wednesday night. That was last night, wasn't it?
The Horror Film Roulette?
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be here at the mixer, but I'm not sure. Maybe?
Yeah, because our people went out to a signing.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
well, there you go. Yeah, I don't.
So they might just be presenting them on the 8th, or what's going on?
Well, no.
They
They
might
have
be
2 weeks to
promoting.
make their films. And then I think what they're promoting is the festival that happens at the end of it where they show all the films and pick a winner.
Okay.
Eric Steele's awesome. And when Eric Steele does an event, I would suggest anybody go to it. He's with the studio up, I believe it's still in Utica. Great place, great guy, does good work. I'm looking forward to see what he comes up with this year. But great event. It's been going on for, I don't know, longer than the film festival, I believe.
Oh, wow, okay. I competed in it in 1 year, so yeah, it's a cool event.
What did you do?
We had, oh god, I think it was a slasher, but we did like a paranormal type slasher thing with like ghosts, and it was cool.
Last year, were you there last year?
No, I don't think last year. I think
Last
it was 2017.
year, there was a meta one, and I wish I was there.
Oh shit!
Like.
Those are the best, honestly.
The meta one was, so how the format goes is at the beginning of October, they spin the wheel and they figure out what each team figures out what they're going to do. Well, they started filming at that as part of the movie, and he spins, and it's about these 2 weeks where he's making this film and he just disintegrates into insanity.
Oh.
And then it culminates when they're watching his film. And then I guess what happened was the guy in the middle of his own film got up and started acting crazy. And then the rest of the crew starts acting crazy in the middle of the screen. Like, it's all happening at the same time. And it was a very creative experience for everybody else who didn't know what was going on. Because you're watching this guy and it's like a docu-horror, but it's also now happening to you while you're watching his film.
That's sick.
So it was pretty, I'm like, oh, that's pretty creative. And I don't know all the particulars about it, but I think it was Corey that was telling me about it. I'm like, oh,
let me get some more info on that if you find out.
All right.
Yeah.
There's video out there of last year's spinning and everything. He's just acting out and acting weird.
You know, that kind of sounds familiar, and I might know what you're talking about. It may have been in my year, actually.
Was it your year?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
It may have been. But either way, Horror Film Roulette will be there. Eric Steele is a cool guy.
Super cool.
And we also have the 48-hour film project, but it's going to be the horror edition, so it's just all horror.
Did you participate in that too?
So my crew
I thought you did.
participated in the regular one, not the horror one.
Okay.
But yeah, we won second place at the regular one like a couple years ago. But the horror 48-hour film project actually just came back. Jennifer Gettner, who we did interview for the show previously, she is the Detroit producer, and she's heading it up, and she recently brought it back for the first time, I think, like last year.
Cool.
So
yeah,
they're going to be there.
I haven't attended it yet, but I hear good things. She does a great 48-hour film festival during the summer that we partner with the Mixers. So
I was going to say the crazy shit I can come up with in 48 hours, you don't want to know.
Yeah.
I do, and you should go make a film.
You
now.
should.
No, it's going to be like like straight up exploitation movie. Like
there you go.
Like really dark, like stuff that if you did any drugs and then watch this movie, you'd have to like step outside and like take like 100 deep breaths so you realize
I'm
you're not going
it.
fucking crazy.
Do it.
That would be awesome.
Make that
actually.
film.
Yeah. We should do it.
You should.
So yeah, guys, if
my
you're
God.
if you're interested in that event, you can actually participate. So come to the Mixer if you're in Southeast Michigan here. You can talk to Jen and get more info on it, or you can also just go to like the site and check out more info on it, of course. But yeah, they're going to be there. It's pretty awesome. And let me tell you guys, it's not easy to make a movie in 48 hours. But
I believe you.
It's a fucking exhilarating experience.
Don't work that
Give
weekend.
me 2 hours. I'll write a whole fucking story.
And then don't
Probably
work the
don't
2
work
days.
one of those days.
Yeah, don't work that whole weekend.
We could do some shit like a Tales from the Crypt episode ish.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, with like
I want to know what's in
like
your
a
brain.
mascot.
You don't.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It involves like a
It's-
man eating peanut butter out of his own belly button in his like dining room, screaming at himself because he's.
I think
crazy.
you should make that.
And he cooks a baby in the oven and eats it with a spoon
Oh,
in front of
okay.
everyone. You'd be like,
yes, you
"What
should make
the
that.
fuck?"
Just don't use a real baby.
Oh,
Anyway,
of course not.
Of course not. Not get Cannibal Holocaust.
Unless it's like a sheep baby. You know?
No.
Just sheep.
a sheep.
Maybe a puppy.
Oh man.
That's
oh,
I wouldn't do that. I fucking love
That's
dogs.
horrible.
A pup. No, but yeah, the 48 will be at this Mixer, guys. And you may have one in your own city as well. So that's what's cool about this is, we have these Michigan-based people coming through and these Michigan-based things, but this is like an international thing.
Yeah.
You can come to this whenever you want. You can kind of set up your own thing. It's very cool. It's a great experience. If you are here in Michigan, come check it out October 8th. And what time is it at?
7 o'clock. What we talking about our mixer? 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock goes till 10 o'clock. It's over at 5th Avenue, which everybody should know is a new location. There's going to be pool tables there. It's one of the cool things that we'll be adding. And I think we're going to have some, like, what somebody said, normie board games. Like,
what the fuck is that? Like Monopoly?
I think, like, the Jenga.
Okay.
And I think somebody might be bringing Uno just because it's such a big venue. We can do that kind of stuff now. So
that Friday night, white people drinking wine type, like,
why
setting.
not?
I was going to say, if they bring Monopoly, you better know how to throw hands, because that's what's going to happen if we play Monopoly together.
Fuck with me and sorry, or anything.
Sorry.
I fucking love Uno. I will fucking shit everywhere on everyone.
Played a lot of Uno. So that's pretty much, I think, it about the mixer. There's going to be costumes, so bring a costume. It's going to be a cool event.
I really want to come. Are you going?
I'm going to be there.
Both of you are going, right?
It's my job to be there.
It's his job, and Clean Slate is a video sponsor of the mixers, so I'm kind of obligated to come, but I will come.
I'm just
anyway.
going to show up in a costume, and I'm not going to tell you if I'm there or not.
I'm probably going to know it's you if I just see Michael Myers.
It might not be Michael. What if I'm just a giant faceless ham sandwich?
I've been trying to talk
I would probably think it might
and
be
the rest of our crew into doing a group costume. Actually, Glory, who we both worked with, has pitched an idea that we should go as the characters from Up. Me being the kid from Up, which is a popular request.
Who's going to be
Corey?
Doug?
Corey should be the old dude.
Yeah,
I think Gloria should be the Doug. I think Gloria should be the dog, but she thinks me and Corey would be the power couple as being the old guy and the little kid.
I can see that.
I'm like, I'll do it if everybody else dresses up, but somebody has to find my costume.
Or Barnabas here can dress up as Jason, and I'll dress up as like one of the female counselors, but I'm going to keep my beard on and I'm just going to run. Oh, no!
All right. So Jason in space. What did you think of it? I have to know.
We could do a whole thing about that, but I will say it was fun.
My favorite.
It wasn't good, but it was fun.
I didn't watch most of the movie. My favorite part in Jason in Space, and I've watched it 100 times, is the sleeping bag scene.
Oh my God, it's the best.
That is my like I because I played it in college a couple of times because I had to play movies. That was one of the jobs that I had. And so for Halloween, we played a lot of Jason in Space 13, or I think it was 13, right?
10.
10?
Yeah,
look at
10.
you guys know your stuff. So
I'm going to call it Jason in Space.
I saw that. I'm just like, I didn't know it was supposed to be a funny movie. Like, I thought Jason was like true. I didn't know it was like supposed to be funny.
The first one that really started like really being funny was really like, I want to say part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. When he walks by the thugs, he kicks their boombox and they're like, "Hey, man!"
The rest,
and then he turns around and lifts his mask up, and they're like, "It's cool, man." The rest of it's like really dark and just really bloody.
Well, the rest had those like doofus like characters in them here and there, but the tone of the movie overall wasn't particularly comedic.
Okay.
Until I would say about that movie.
And they just get funny after that.
Kind of. Yeah.
Jason Goes to Hell was wild. Jason takes like someone eats his heart and he starts jumping from body to body.
Yeah.
And then Jason...
He has a boxing match with one guy on a rooftop.
And Jason X, the one in space. And then that one was fucking wild. Yeah. And then Freddy vs. Jason was just funny all around. That one's definitely a horror comedy. But the remake was fucking serious.
Yeah.
Really? What about the Halloween movies? Are they actually scary?
Yeah. Besides...
That's Michael Myers now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Halloween Resurrection, Busta Rhymes is in that, and they're filming like a mockumentary. And Busta Rhymes, like, spinning round kicks Michael out of a window. So I would have skipped that one if I were you. Just don't watch Resurrection.
Okay.
Yeah. And then in Halloween 1 and 2, the remake, he's part of like a hillbilly family, and you find out his backstory that he's a killer because he got bullied, which was not the original backstory.
It really changed in the modern era, but the original franchises, as you kind of get deeper into them, most of them, they kind of get funnier because the character is already so established, and then to keep the audience, they just, make it funny.
Doing something else with it.
Yeah. But,
makes sense.
I mean, we could talk about that stuff all day, certainly. Come to the Mixer, guys.
Ask me about films at the Mixer.
Film festival. Yeah, what kind of...
If you see me, I'm a heavy, fat, brown Filipino dude. I'm the president. I'll be wearing a Royal Starr shirt. Yeah. So, I mean, just ask anybody who Luke Castle is, and they'll point you towards me. Tell me what your favorite movie is. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm completely approachable. You can ask me anything. I just want to meet everybody out there, so... come to the Mixer. Yeah. Tell me, let's talk films. I can do that obviously all day long.
Obviously.
Sort of what I do. But yeah, October 8th, 7 o'clock. It is in Royal Oak at 5th Avenue, which coincidentally, I believe, is on 5th Avenue also.
I believe so.
We're going to be upstairs. If you could, please register. What we're doing, because we need to get numbers for the state of Michigan, who helps fund all this, is we need to know how many people are coming to these things. So please register ahead of time. You'll be a little bit faster in line, hopefully. But yeah, I can't wait to see you guys there.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. And we'll hopefully be there as well. And so you can meet us too if you come to the mixer. Finally, Luke, where can people find more information if they desire it for either the mixer or just for Royal Starr?
Well, first off, you can go and follow us and get active updates on our Facebook page, which is Royal Starr Arts Institute. It's right there on Facebook. I'm sure you all have it. We also have a Twitter and an Instagram account, which is Royal Starr with 2 R's, FF. We're on there. And then you can always go to our webpage, which is royalstarwith2rs.org. All of the stars have 2 R's.
Yes, they do.
Somebody's name.
Yeah. So go do all of that, guys. And then for us here at Grave Discussions, we have some social medias as well, including Facebook and Instagram at Grave Discussions and Twitter at GraveDiscSRD. And we have a website, gravediscussions.net. We've been posting a bunch of articles on there recently. Go check out our most recent Creepshow one and the 31 Graves of Halloween, where we made up our lists.
Yes, and if you're a fan of physical media and would like to join me in real time as I blow through my list, you can follow me at Shape of Horror 78 on Instagram, where I post most of my movies. I have over like 1,100. I'm not going to post all of them, but
Wow.
Yeah, we're collectors.
You guys got to start selling these t-shirts with this logo that you guys
We
have.
do.
That
we do
logo
have to,
is
yeah.
sweet.
yeah.
Yeah, check out our
I was
merch
surprised
shop
how
soon.
sweet it came out, honestly.
No, it's very cool.
Who designed that?
This was actually created
V Glitchka?
by Von Glitchka,
Yep.
who you can follow him, I think, V Glitchka on Twitter.
Is he a local?
He's not a local, but he's a pretty successful graphic designer.
Do it.
So I've seen his videos on this educational site called Lynda. He's like an instructor.
Oh, yeah.
He does
have
Adobe
it.
Illustrator primarily.
Spot out by LinkedIn.
Yeah. So I watched some of his videos, and I just kind of reached out to him when I was like, "Yeah, we need a cool logo," and he did it. So
That's cool.
yeah, he's awesome.
Props to
guy.
him, man.
Very talented. So yeah, Luke, thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming out. You're awesome as well.
Thanks.
We appreciate
You're awesome
having
too,
you
Bart.
on this. Thanks. And you are awesome as well.
You're
Sam.
awesome too. I just
Thanks, bro.
Like I'm just like,
So
how do you say your name?
Well, my name is Samael.
Samael.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what the Jews call the devil.
mhm.
Oh,
That's my moniker.
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. So Samael,
Yes.
I also
Alright.
go by Lord of Darkness,
Lord of Darkness. That was my
Belial,
cousin
or
also.
Beelzebub,
So you
Lord
might
of the
know him.
Flies,
I get it.
Yeah.
one
And
true God.
we are Grave Discussions. Thank you again, Luke.
Thank you for having me on.
Go check out all that stuff, guys, and come to the mixer if you can. I think that's going to wrap it up here for episode 78.
And if you come to the mixer, I'll follow you around as Michael Myers for free. And tune in next week where we throw apples at orphans. On
Sounds like a deal to me.
Discussions. We never do any of this stuff.
This has been an SRD production.